We are live. Done.
Excellent. Oh, we got a bit of feedback that Caden was a bit quiet.
Yeah, I've already told him. Obviously you
Awesome.
two are on the same track, so I can't turn him up without turning you up with it. So I asked him just to put his mic input up a little bit. I don't know if that will help.
Right. Yeah, I did turn my input down slightly last week as well because I thought it was a bit loud, but it sounded great when I listened back last week's for my volume, so that should do it.
I think Caden also has a habit of he has a couple bevies and then he just starts talking like this. He's like,
yeah.
So it's good. He just gets
He just wheels away.
Yeah. The later the podcast goes, he just wheels away.
Yeah. It's just his nose left in shot.
But yeah,
we're really close to our mic as well, aren't we? I suppose, aren't we?
Yeah, my mic's not in my face; it's down there.
Yeah. You ever thought about getting an arm, or is your desk not big enough for an arm?
No, it's fine. I can probably get it to come over my monitor if I was to get like a big arm. Yeah. Black Friday's around the corner, so I'll probably grab an arm then or something.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking for some stuff on Black Friday.
I would say if you could do another little bit of input upwards, Caden, do. It's not a massive deal, but if you can do a little bit, do a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're ready to go. I've done socials and everything. I've just seen as we've gone live, Avowed just got its official pre-order has gone up, releasing on BattleNet. That's crazy. That's a bit weird. And they're doing their cheeky 5 days,
early.
Get it in advance, 5 days early.
But that doesn't apply to Games Pass, does it?
On all platforms. Well, for Starfield, it was what was it for Starfield? You could upgrade your Game Pass thing by buying, I think it was a 20 quid pass, and that got you access to the DLC and the early.
Okay, so it's like a little inside track.
Yeah, and it's like you kind of get a discount if you do it through Game Pass and you want it a bit early. I assume they'll do the same here. Okay, well, all right, fine. Let's jingle in and get started then.
Yeah, we sound good. You've had a look, and there's no echo or anything, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there shouldn't be, but yeah, cool. All right,
no,
sweet.
That sounds good. Otherwise, awesome. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the 150th episode of the Quick Resume podcast. A monumental episode, a big journey it's taken to get here. Nearly coming up to 3 years worth of episodes. That's some dedication. If nothing else, it's dedication. That's what I think. So,
well, everyone. I've been doing this podcast in 3 different locations as well, because I think we started this when I lived with my parents, and I did it at my little desk in my room, and then I was doing it a little bit at Tilly's flat, and now I'm doing it in my house. So it just shows 3 years, man. A lot can change.
What do they call it in the Marvel universe? Don't they have a name for it? Where it's like, what do they call it in Deadpool and Wolverine? When it's like a fixed being. What is where there's
an anchor being.
Yeah, that's it. The Quick Resume podcast is an anchor being.
I like it. Yeah. If this show ever goes down, we're taking the universe with it. Yeah.
Yeah. God, why is there a black hole swallowing up half of Africa? Sir, have you considered that the Quick Resume podcast has been taken down? We need to sort that out. Man. It's been a pretty busy week. Can't lie to you. A lot has happened. It's been pretty fun. We're going to filter through the stuff for the fun stuff. And we're also going to talk about some non-Xbox related stuff, as there always is every week. For example, guys, did you know a new Monster Hunter game was announced this week?
I did. I watched the trailer for it. Yeah.
So that warrants a bit of discussion, being the Monster Hunter heads that we are. Beside that, as a bit of a summary, a bit of an agenda for the day, Indiana Jones got a gameplay deep dive. We got a South of Midnight preview and documentary. We just got some of our pre-order stuff that went up. Phil Spencer did an interview with Bloomberg, confirming a handheld finally. So it's like official now. We don't have to pretend that it's just being teased. And then Xbox just today put out their new marketing campaign. This is an Xbox, which is turning out to be pretty controversial. So all fun topics, I'm sure. All fun and level-headed topics, I'm sure.
Very nice. Very
nice. I reckon because we're on a bit of a time budget, we try and get through the what we've been playing section a bit quicker. I mean, I actually don't have much else to bring other than the fact that I have acknowledged how wrong I was about Pokemon Pocket version or whatever it was, you know. So I've now got an Articuno and a Zapdos. You know, yeah, sorry.
I mean, I've got all three. I don't mean don't mean to be that guy.
I think I've got Articuno and Moltres. I don't have them all, but
Moltres EX, Zapdos EX, but I haven't got Articuno EX just yet. But I do have Articuno.
Both of mine are EX.
But yeah, not a cool move from you, Deck. I'm going to be honest. You kind of chastised me and Caden pretty hard before going live on the podcast last week.
I did. I feel bad about it. Yeah, no, I feel bad about it. Yeah.
And then
how about we all do a pack right now? We'll do a pack.
I think I used all my timers.
That's actually you used all your timers.
Yeah.
I just know that I've got.
What else are they for?
I have 278. I don't know.
What else do you use the timer for? So you might as well.
Well, I just don't spam them. I'd rather sleep. Sleep, it's like effective, isn't it? Sleep's like the best booster you can have. So you go sleep, wake up, and then time's gone.
That's how you see sleep now as like a Pokemon pack refresher.
That's like real life, isn't
it? How do you have so many? Do you do like a lot of like have you done like a lot of the tutorials and all the AI battles?
I've done quite a lot of the battles, I guess. Yeah.
I did a few, but I haven't really dipped my toes in that much. That's probably why I'm lacking compared to
you guys. I'm gonna do a Pikachu pack.
Okay, fine. I'm also going to open a Pikachu pack. Here we go.
Let's go.
This is what you come to an Xbox podcast for.
Do you guys like my Rapidash I sent in the chat though? That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
It's very nice, man. It's very good.
It's very.
I like a good Rapidash.
But yeah, I don't have enough, so I'm just gonna.
You guys the pack backwards as well.
I never do.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Ooh. Yeah.
I've got Lieutenant Surge. Quite happy with him.
Nice, man.
A cottony, a shitty Pikachu. Oh, there's a foil at the back. Okay, we ball in.
Oh, I got a Nidoking art.
Oh, nice. Fire. It's the one where it's like lying down in the sun, isn't it?
I got another. I got another one of those Squirtle boys.
God, popping off 2 full arts. Let's go, boys. Yeah. All right, that concludes the episode.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, guys, that's good.
But yeah, so that's about it for you on the gaming front, Deck. You just haven't really done much else.
We've still been playing a lot of Phasmaphobia. I guess that warrants just like a little pat on the back. Like, you know, that game could have been a one weekend and done, but it hasn't. It's kind of got its hooks in the friend group, and we're all playing that. So still a big shout out to that game. And actually, I've convinced some friends and family who may be listening right now. And if you are, lots of love, enjoying Phasmaphobia as well. So yeah,
nice. All right, I guess I'll go next. Yeah. I don't have much to update on either. I played a little bit of Metaphor. I've been a little bit busy this week though, because we've been kind of planning a bit of like a weekend away in London, and then obviously I've been working quite busy, so squeezing 5 days work into 4, essentially. So I haven't been playing too much, but I dipped my toes in Metaphor for a couple of evenings. I think we did Phasmaphobia earlier in the week again, but yeah, nothing much to update on my end. About same games.
Excellent. Caden?
Yeah, kind of a quiet week for me as well. Bit of Tekken, been getting into that again lately. New season of Guilty Gear, jumped into that to give that a go with a new character. It was good fun. And pretty sure Ghostface on MK comes out either today or yesterday or tomorrow. Very close. So gonna jump in and just have a little play around with Ghostface at some stage.
I've got a related question here, which like tied into something I wanted to talk about, just like kind of briefly. What's your feelings on crossovers like that? Like kind of goofy.
Brilliant.
You're all for it. Okay, fine.
Love it.
Cool. And Tim, what about you?
Okay, so I just want to elaborate on that a little bit as well. Partly why I'm so invested in Guilty Gear again, because I've not played that game for a long time, since season 2. Is the guest character coming to it. What's her name from Cyberpunk Edgerunners? As soon as she was announced, I immediately ordered season 3 and season 4 for Guilty Gear. Just because like that's such a cool pick. So I do think you do need these kind of weird spin-off characters. Like MKX, I think is infamous for being one of the most like famous like guest character lineups, because they're all like iconic horror film characters, and it's I do think a guest character is very important. For example, Fatal Fury, the game you guys, I don't know, you probably aren't too aware, but it's an SNK game. The guys who did King of Fighters,
right?
The new SNK game, they're bringing Street Fighter characters to it. It's Ken and
Terry,
Chun-Li,
innit?
which is huge. Well, yeah. So in Street Fighter, they've brought Terry and Mai or May. I can't remember. But and then in Fatal Fury, they're bringing Ken and Chun-Li.
Oh,
So
I see.
it's a big collaboration of Capcom, SNK. So people are just fucking insane about it. So I definitely think guest characters are a huge part of fighting game culture now. Smash Bros. You know what I mean? Like as kind of, I feel like that's completely different, maybe. But like, you know what I mean? How hyped do some people get when they see like Banjo and Kazooie or I'm trying to think of some of the other massive ones like Snake, like Solid Snake, like shit like that. People go insane for.
Well, like Multiverse is another good one, isn't it? For that sort of stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's maybe not as on the same level, but all it takes is that one character that is just so you to then just immediately attach yourself to it. So sorry, I interrupted your kind of take on it as well, but that's definitely mine. I think it's very important.
Yeah, cool. No, I just wanted to get. I just wanted to hear what Tim had to say as well. Like, I don't know if Tim, you feel good about that sort of thing, or if it kind of thinks it can ruin the vibe, or is it just game dependent? Yeah, what do you think?
No, I'm with Caden. I think some of the best characters are when you just go wacky and go cross universe. Like I remember I got quite invested. Well, I didn't get invested, but I logged on to, I think it was MKX when like Predator came out and stuff like that. And
Predator, one of my favorite characters of all time. My favorite fighting Predator. Oh, so much fun.
Yeah, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it just adds that extra just oomph that you sometimes need. And I also think, let's be real, most people bought Soul Calibur 4 or 6 because of Geralt that was in it. So like cool. It's just characters like that can literally like just sell your game like hotcakes. And I've been on a little bit of a with the new season of Arcane coming out as well. So watched season 1 and I'm into and I've watched the first 3. They're doing that thing where they release it in 3 parts, which is really annoying. So I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Stinky.
And the next 3 episodes are coming out tomorrow. And then 3 more at the end of the month. I think I can't remember. I thought it was tomorrow, but yeah, and then more at the end of the month. And just dude, Arcane is just so good. Imagine if like Arcane like Vi like came to like Guilty Gear or something like that, or like
she's going to be in 2xKO. Just saying, 2xKO.
Yeah, so it's just
they might turn up in Valorant. So cool. They might turn up in Valorant. One of the characters.
Maybe. Surprise me. Yeah, I mean they've got that event, haven't they, with the gun skins, the gauntlets,
which are great,
and the skin. Yeah. So
you've already bought that, have you?
No, but I was very fucking tempted because I'm on a serious Arcane high right now. It's like a drug for me.
I fucking love that so much.
Yeah, it's super, super good. But yeah, no, I'm in agreement. Yeah, guest fighters all the way.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Well, interesting. The reason I bring it up is because one of the things I just wanted to talk about is the fact that we had a couple of leaks earlier in the week from a pretty reliable source from the guys over at Xbox Era, that Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix are going to be making an appearance in Call of Duty. Now, we know Call of Duty do these crossovers, but every time I look at some of the crossovers Call of Duty do, they're really fucking stupid. Really fucking stupid. Why am I playing as Nicki Minaj? Why am I playing as Doja Cat? I don't get it.
Fortnite does a different.
Why am I Tupac?
The whole game is silly. So I think if you put in Master Chief, or you put in Kratos, or you put in Goku, it doesn't matter because it's so silly and fake. But when you look at Call of Duty, it is photorealistic.
It takes itself more seriously, yeah.
Yeah, it's more serious. So when, like you said, when you're Nicki Minaj running around executing Master Chief, you're just like...
It's even weird when they did Homelander as well, isn't it? Like, I'm pretty sure they did Homelander.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's just like, why the fuck's Homelander...
They did Lilith from Diablo, yeah.
It's just weird seeing those people run around with a fucking M4. Like, why?
Yeah. I think there is scope for that sort of stuff in COD. I mean, maybe those things sold like hotcakes. I don't know. It's just from the outside looking in. It's just like it feels a bit like a mismatch. But there are some characters that like use guns where I think it could really work. Like Chief was in Rainbow Six Siege, wasn't he? And that the interpretation of it in there was like really good when he was like Sledge. It looked great. And he had like a gravity hammer instead, you know. And so I think like characters with guns probably do work quite well. And Xbox being the shooty box it's kind of been known for, probably has a good opportunity to just lob a couple of those characters in. You know, then you've got other things coming up like Perfect Dark. You know, Joanna Dark is probably a good fit as well. There's probably others that I'm not remembering right now. Maybe even like if we're looking back at like General Ram and things like that, I'm sure there are others in the portfolio. But I think there is scope for it, and I guess it's like, do we think it's like this is something that Xbox like really should be doing, like getting their franchises into COD? Because it sounds like they're going to be really
Let's
prioritizing
be honest.
that.
If you know what COD is, you know what Halo is, and if you know what Halo is, you know what Gears is. Like,
Yeah.
It's less about
think
discoverability, though. I just think it's more about hype. Like, it gets people thinking, I haven't played Halo in a while. Maybe I should go play the campaign. Yeah, it's free. It's on Game Pass, you know.
I mean, yeah, I would like to. I mean, sure. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that, but that's when I see Master Chief in COD. That doesn't make me think I want to play Halo. That makes me think COD's a bit silly.
So that's interesting. So is there nothing you think that COD can do that makes it not silly? You think it should just be Captain Price?
No. There are characters that I believe can go in it, but Snoop Dogg and Nicki Minaj and stuff like that.
I thought Snoop Dogg was quite funny, to be fair. I thought that was actually an alright one.
It's funny, but it's not a funny game.
Person, though. Like, yeah, he was at the Olympics, for Christ's sake.
I thought he rebranded as Snoop Dragon.
No, Snoop Lion, wasn't it?
Lion. Yeah.
I thought he upgraded even from Lion. I thought he evolved.
Upgraded.
Yeah.
I actually got the full card out of him, actually.
You got what?
Nice.
Snoop Lion card out. Come on.
Oh, right.
Do you think he just like gets reincarnated and just comes back as Snoop Dragon? Do you think that's how he sees it?
I think he should get so high that he forgets what he is. He's just like,
smoke coming out his nose.
He thinks he's been reincarnated. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I guess if they're going to do that shit anyway, they might as well use the Xbox IPs and get it in there. Because like Tim was just saying, you know, like getting really excited about Arcane and like how much that would make you want to buy something in Valorant or play Valorant if one of those characters got added. I know I've definitely been. When did that happen to me? Like I played. We all saw the numbers of how like The Witcher did when the TV show came out. At least the first season, you know, it like really skyrocketed. Cyberpunk was another great example. Fallout was another great example. You know, all of the Fallout games got a big uplift with the TV show. So it's clear that like generally there is a bit of contamination in terms of, you know, you see something and it makes you want to like try the other stuff. So if they're going to pull that shit anyway, they might as well throw some Xbox characters in there. But I do agree that they can get silly with it in a way which would be a bit annoying for COD. Like, I don't want Banjo to be in there. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want a Porsche or a McLaren in there. I think Lilith was dumb as fuck. Like, that was so stupid. It's just not the right place. You know, like, why is she running around with an M4? It's so weird.
Yeah. I do think like Marcus and Dom and Halo is fine though. I actually don't have an issue with that. And
imagine them scaled down because they're obviously fucking huge. So you have to scale down their hitboxes. So I think they'll just look really silly, right? Is that me thinking too much, or
you have a point? To be fair,
am I thinking a bit more? Yeah, big old pecking boys.
I don't know if they made Lilith work. Maybe. I mean, it depends on the execution, I suppose. But I imagine they just make them big and then, but just keep the hitboxes small. But yeah, I mean, you are right. Like perhaps that does interfere with the gameplay a little bit. Pay to win sheepskin. All right, interesting. All right. There's nothing else I really wanted to talk about there. I suppose I thought today, because as I said just before we went live, the Xbox's new marketing campaign started up, and that's the very bottom story on the notes. I wanted to kind of talk about this because everyone's kind of gotten a bit mad. I think it's kind of funny. I don't know if you can see the JPEGs I've put up there. I've put a link to like the official Xbox Wire post and whatever. You know, so for maybe audio listeners that can't let me think about that again. Audio listeners that can't see. There we go. They've got like, you know, a checkerboard, and it's they've got all the devices under the sun that just, you know, jokingly is saying this is an Xbox. So this is kind of the first time they've put out a marketing campaign that has like tried to coherently make sense of them going everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, before that was something which was known to us, like the hardcore, maybe even the core audience knew about it, but casuals don't really know. They just assume, you know, Xbox is Xbox, games that go to Xbox. Maybe there's a big marketed one that they assume is an exclusive or whatever, but they don't know. And so this is the first time they've kind of made this decision to go public in a sense, you know.
Mhm.
And there's been some pushback. I've seen all over Twitter, you know, people are being like, "Oh, this is so stupid. Oh my god, fucking cringy Xbox at it again." I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, what do you guys think? Is this annoying, or is this necessary given all the decisions they've made?
From
Where
my
are we at with this sort of
experience,
thing?
so we're off the Xbox fans,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I quite like the new approach, but typically from my experience, if the fans don't like it, it's not for the fans, it's for the people that aren't Xbox fans yet, or people that aren't in that in that kind
Mhm.
of community just yet.
Not in
It's
the
not
inner
aimed at
circle,
us.
so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for us. We're already Xbox fans. They've already got us. So, from my experience, if you don't like it, it it other people will like it. Um,
It-
a lot
He's
of
probably
fucking
not
money and
targeting you.
time and research goes into these things. So,
Yeah.
like,
It's for
I can
new.
only
It's
speak
for
from
like, yeah, it's for newer audiences rather than
yeah,
existing ones to pick it up and understand what the fuck's going on. Because, like Dex said, it is quite confusing, right? Um, I don't mind it. I feel like it's a little bit weird because I feel like it's like a vibe that Xbox has never really done before. So it just comes off like a little bit cringe and a little bit on the nose. But I think that's just because it's new and it's something they've never really done. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I just think it's more jarring, I guess, is probably the best way to use it.
Mm.
But when you actually look at it from like the outside in, it's, you know, it's got a little bit of humor in there and it kind of conveys the message that they want to get across, right? But it's just a bit different to how they've approached it in the past. So yeah, I can see why people are a
Mm.
little bit like it's a bit cringe, it's a bit weird.
I like it
Yeah,
personally.
I don't
I
have a
think
And
problem with it.
it's very simple, and someone looks at it and goes, maybe they didn't know you could play Xbox on your phone. They're like, the fuck? What do you mean Xbox that can make calls? What
right,
do you mean? And then
Mhm.
yeah.
you look into it and you're like, wait, I can do this on my phone. And
Yeah.
then you know, it's just little things like that. You know, there's a is that a Kindle or not Kindle?
Fire stick.
Fire Stick.
Kindle,
Yeah,
that'd be
yes, I
great.
was close. I was so close. You know, stuff like that, and you're like, wait, I can play Xbox on my Fire
Yeah,
Stick, and then you because it is confusing. It
that's right.
makes you ask a question, and then it introduces you to it, or at
Mhm.
least
Yeah.
gets you involved in one way or another. So I like it personally.
And that's the thing. It's like we're not just talking about the aesthetic of it here. You know, we're more like, well, as well, we are talking about like how reflective is it of like Xbox's strategy? Because like we've gone on and on about like how confusing this shit is. Like, why are you putting games on other platforms if you're not like it just felt so incoherent. Like, you know, we'd get these like podcasts where Phil would turn up and be like, yeah, we're gonna do four games to PlayStation and we're gonna see how it's gonna go. And it's like, okay, well, like how the fuck are you communicating this to everyone else?
Mm.
Like who aren't like nerds, you know? Um and so like really when I first saw this, I was like finally, you know, I was like, good, like the thing that they've needed to do for a while is just commit to the vision. Like, I don't know whether that vision is something that the hardcore community likes or dislikes. I mean, yeah, fair enough, whatever. But in terms of the health of the brand, they just need to fucking stick to something. You know, the fact that they
Mhm.
flip flopped around this, like, oh, we're buying these studios and we're going to have exclusivity. Indiana Jones is an exclusive, just to turn around 12 months later and be like, it's not actually, it's just joking.
Mhm.
Or like showing off big new games, like a new Blade game, and not even showing any brand association with it. You know, all of this stuff is it's just like, what's the plan? And I think if they are going to do this, where they are just going to really consider putting like most of their catalog on other platforms eventually, then at least commit to it. Like at least commit to it and get the, and let everyone know, you know, these are platforms where Game Pass are. You know, that's because that's essentially what they're showing here. They're showing you like you can play
Yeah.
cloud on your phone, you can play Game Pass on a Fire Stick, you can play Game Pass on a PC, you can play Game Pass on a handheld via PC. That's what they're
Mhm.
showing you. They haven't got a Switch or a PlayStation here, if you see what I'm saying. Um, so it's overall just sort of trying to really bring together the strategy change they've been pissing around with for 2 years now and just throw it to the casual audience. Just be like, look, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing now. This is it. So I think when I first saw this, I was like, thank God.
Do you think they should have put a PC in there? I know they've got a laptop. Do you think they should have put like an actual like where?
A monitor,
that's a TV,
top right, isn't it?
No, it's a TV.
Just like a smart.
Yeah, because they've got the Games Pass on the TV app, haven't they? That's what that is. So they've done a laptop, but I feel like it could have been quite good to put like a PC set up there and put like a monitor and something like that. I don't know, because I feel like that's gonna jump out to people as well, because so many people are just hardcore gamers. No, just me.
Yeah, sorry, Caden's playing fucking resizing Warfare with me on the JPEGs.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should have done that, but
yeah. I mean, it's totally reasonable. But more than anything, I mean, like, do you think like this was something that they needed to do in terms of like selling it to the mass audience of like, we know we're going to continue to piss the hardcore off a little bit here, but this is what we're doing now. We like money. We need more money. We are going to go for a wider net. Like, was this necessary, or do you think they could have just gone without this and just kept advertising just the console, power your dreams, that whole slogan? Like, is this preferable, do you think, or should they just not have bothered and just continue to advertise just the console?
I think they should have done this. I think this is a fine move. I feel like this, yeah. I feel like it just helps convey the message of not necessarily where the. I mean, sure, it is where they're at right now, but also just where they're heading in the future as well. It just kind of clears up that path, that message a little bit. And obviously, the more they do this and evolve with the same strategy, the more it's going to get drilled into people that it's the place you can play anywhere, right? It's it's like a console you can play on pretty much everything. So, yeah, no, I think it just unmuddies the water. Yeah. I feel like it's something they should have done.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, good. I don't want to go through this episode without talking about Monster Hunter, so maybe let's just do that now. We've got to have some thoughts on this. So for those who don't know, for the uninitiated, out of nowhere, a new Monster Hunter game got announced. A Monster Hunter open world survival game called Monster Hunter Outlanders. How exciting is that, right, guys? You play open world survival Monster Hunter. What a new fresh take on Monster Hunter. And look, it looks quite good. It looks really good and quite cool. It's only on mobile.
Am I right in thinking it was only like a year or two ago that there was another Monster Hunter mobile game?
Yeah, they got Pokemon Go. It's still going. Yeah. They just released an update for it
2 years ago, right? Stupid. Not long.
I'd say 2 years. Yeah. No, I'd say about 2 years, maybe.
Stop pimping out Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it being popular niche. I don't want it to become like Horizon. You know what PlayStation is doing with Horizon, right? Where they're making it like
making it the village bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. They're making it fucking everything. And I thought Horizon did its thing really well because it was niche, but in a really, really good way. I guess niche maybe is a bit too harsh, but maybe this feels a little bit like that, in my opinion, where it's a bit unnecessary.
Yeah. And it seems pretty high production value as well for being unnecessary. It seems like they're putting quite a lot into it.
It looks quite good. It looks actually kind of good, like for real. Like if this was just on console as is, I'd probably play this.
Yeah. It's just mid frames, dude. Like that trailer was like running at like 10 frames. But yeah, I think I had the same reaction to probably everyone on the planet, where I clicked on the thumbnail because I saw it and I saw like the monster like with its eye like looking. I was like, all right, what the fuck's this? And then I saw, the part of the trailer where it just goes to the iPhone, like, and it's like, it is happening on there. And I was like, no, I just like let out, like, I was not happy.
Yeah, I guess because we see this quite a lot, don't we? Where they will like take something from a franchise and then do like an experimental version of it, which looks kind of good. But I guess it's because mobile really is a lower risk way to do that. Like they don't have to spend a massive budget on it. And they can just fill it with like gacha mechanics, like microtransactions. So it's a lower cost overall, and the return is probably higher if you can just get a decent player base, because it's kind of acceptable that on mobile games they'll be full of ads, full of microtransactions, and you just have to spend a lot of money to play the games. Like that's just kind of the culture around it.
It's a fine line, though. Remember Diablo Immortal
Yeah.
and how badly that hit Diablo as a franchise. People leading up to
Yeah.
Diablo 4 were just like, they fucked up Mortal that much. I'm scared for Diablo 4. Do you remember that time frame? That kind of.
Don't you guys have phones? That was Diablo.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
that was it.
God.
That was it. Yeah.
That was like the worst fucking announcement ever.
I completely forgot
How
about
did they
it, so
think
right.
that would go down
What was
well?
it? What color shirt did he have? He became that guy, didn't he? White shirt guy.
Yeah,
or
I
something like
can't
that?
remember. Yeah, but he did.
Yeah.
Like, I just so delusional. But I mean, Deck does have a point though. For whatever reason, in like Japan and everything like that, mobile gaming is just fucking enormous. Like, it's ridiculously, insanely large. Like, more so than anything else. Like PCs, Xbox, PlayStation, anything, you name it.
Combined, I think it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just don't get it. They're all just sitting on the fucking subway on their phones, just playing games. So there definitely is a market for this, like 100%, and obviously that's where Monster Hunter is most popular as well. Like, sure, it's more Western now, but it's still more popular in that area from like brand recognition. So I don't see why. Sorry, I do see why they've done it, but like it just doesn't interest me. Yeah.
Maybe just because I just thought that she just hit me then is because obviously Monster Hunter's always been a very handheld game, right? Really, it's only World and Wild have been the only two main console releases, so maybe they're trying to kind of fill that void a bit. Maybe with obviously with Wilds coming out, they've missed that handheld, I guess, era or the next generation of handheld. So maybe they're thinking that could slot in.
Possible.
Maybe.
Possible.
Yeah. Plus, it's just not that jarring for that audience to have a portable Monster Hunter, right? It's not exactly like they're like, whoa, this is uncharted territory. It's like you said, it started on portable consoles, so it's not.
Well, no, it started on PS2. But anyway.
Did it? I thought it started.
No, PS2.
PSP, wasn't it? Monster Hunter Freedom was a PSP game.
The first Monster Hunter game was PS2.
Freedom wasn't the first game.
No.
Monster Hunter 1 was the first game.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so it's definitely not that, but yeah, it looks alright, I guess. Maybe I'll plug in my Kishi and give it a go. I don't know.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I mean, let's take the opportunity then to sort of go through the triple whammy, I suppose, of Xbox games that have kind of made an appearance this week. We spoke about Avowed at the top of the show, so we'll maybe leave that to last. But the other two are Indiana Jones and
South of Midnight.
So thank you. Yeah, really blanking there. Thank you. And of course, there are more. Some of them are probably outside the scope of what we would talk about on the podcast, just because we're not. Like, I don't think any of us would say we're qualified to really talk about Microsoft Flight Sim. That's coming out next week. I'm sure it's going to do very well. It's probably going to score in the 90s. It's probably going to be nominated for a couple of Game of the Year nominations in its own categories. We're just not really. None of us are really qualified to talk about it. Although, Caden, you really should be, right? You should go
sure,
and fly
helicopter. I guess I should be, sure. But
yeah. Like fucking, oh my god, yeah, this kid.
Yeah. I mean, I've never. To be fair, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never booted it up. I'm not going to claim to say it's good or bad or whatever. I've just never booted it up. It's just not my kind of thing. But
no.
One day I probably will.
Yeah. And when you're like retired. And you're like, I miss the good old days.
Well, the thing is, with helicopters, I know with aircraft you get like wheels and shit, but like with helicopters, you don't get that. You need
like a stick,
different levers and shit. Yeah, you got your cyclic, and then you got your collective, and all kinds of shit. I don't know if that's a thing people have nowadays. Anyway, don't matter.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's also like Stalker 2, which had like a surprisingly good preview round a couple of weeks back, which we did speak about. We probably will talk about that a bit closer to the time, but I think that will probably get its final previews and reviews for next week's episode. So we'll probably talk about that.
It's 2 weeks away. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, I expect.
Right, so it's been quite noisy in terms of Xbox games coming out and Xbox games then coming out at the beginning of the year, and between that we've still got the TGAs and the developer direct. So it's quite a good time really, just for gaming in general, but also Xbox gets quite noisy. COD obviously just came out as well. So we had this week, they did a 15-minute gameplay deep dive for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It was narrated. We got there were cuts here and there, but generally we got to see quite lengthy segments of gameplay to get a sense for what was going on. And by and large, from what I can tell, the reception was really good. And I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I don't give a fuck about Indiana Jones," which is fine. Totally fair. If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine. But did we get a chance to look at it, guys? And if not, shall I send you the link right now?
I'm watching it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at this one. I watched the South of Midnight IGN one, but I didn't watch the indie one. No.
Okay, I've just popped the link in if you want to have a look while we talk about it, and I guess I'll stop. Not there. I think I when I was listening to one of the previews, I think one of the things that really stuck with me was with Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN described it as more of an adventure action game than an action adventure game, and I think that does a really good job of giving a sense of what we're working with here. There's lots of puzzles, there's lots of stealth, there's lots of scoping areas out and finding things and reading things. You're an archaeologist first and then a goofy brawler second.
Just kind of,
and that's
my idea of Indiana Jones anyway. Yeah,
exactly. And so I think some people came in expecting to see a first-person Uncharted, where you're killing 100,000 people as Nathan Drake.
Indie can't
but which is great in its own right as its own thing, but that was never going to be what Indiana Jones was, because that's not what he does in the films. He's not fucking McCree. He doesn't high noon and beam everyone down. So I don't think you even really see maybe one bit or maybe 2 bits of gameplay where he actually has a gun. I wouldn't really call it a shooter either. It's more of a first-person adventure game. Now, Whipper. Some of the things that stood out to me were there was a lot of really unique animations with the melee and stuff, which was really nice. It looks very pretty, which is nice. And as we've always said, I think we've always been in agreement, the three of us, that they've captured the tone here really, really well. And Troy Baker is killing it. As Harrison Ford's interpretation of Indy. And I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Todd Howard, who was obviously I think the creative director on the game, was saying that he didn't want Troy Baker to do the voice acting. He put himself forward, and Todd Howard was initially I don't want this fucking guy. He's everywhere. He's like the plague, But when they did blind taste tests, so they got a bunch of people to record it, and people to list the focus groups to listen back, not knowing who the person was. He came out on top every single time. So Todd kind of took a slice of humble pie.
It's kind of a joke, isn't it?
Fine.
Baker is everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, he's good.
Very, very good, and it's that talent pays, I guess.
Yeah, and he's very good here. There's absolutely no doubt about that. A couple of things stood out were sort of in terms of just the quality of the presentation was quite high. The quality always looked quite high, so that's not immensely surprising, I suppose. The melee combat I thought looked actually kind of fun. It looks really you never know how it's going to go, do you, with things like this where there's limited melee combat, but it's fisticuffs and there's blocking and parrying, and it just looks really weighty. If you smack someone across the face, it makes a gunshot noise. It's just it's got all the markings of what this sort of game needed to have to really feel like an indie game. And then I think we mentioned before, there's elements of comedy here as well. You're slapping people, or people are getting knocked out on the spot and slowly falling backwards, and then just so much stuff. It seems to have almost that Bethesda game studios level of interactivity. Almost everything you can see can be picked up and used as a throwable, used as a weapon, used as kind of a unique thing for the environment. So that all kind of interested me as well. And I think the final thing was that like it was quite surprising to me that there's actually quite a lot of like light RPG elements here. Like, oh, there's a tomb off to the side, go and do that. You can get a point or a skill or an upgrade. There's that to sort of keep you engaging with the puzzles, other than just the pleasure of doing the puzzle itself. And the extra tools like the whips and whatever looks like good fun too. So it's kind of just for me confirmed what I already thought. I think I'm not a massive Indiana fan. I do like what Machine Games do, and actually, in totality, like I think this looks like quite a unique experience. I'm definitely on Game Pass. Absolutely, I'll give it a go. This looks like quite a high quality release.
Game Pass.
Like, yeah,
you'd be silly not to.
I'd hesitate spending 70, but I'm
yeah.
not. I try. I'm definitely going to try it on Game Pass.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, I think we said the same thing like months and months ago, even before we even saw like that much gameplay of it. Is it looks fun, and they've captured the spirit very well. And for Games Pass, I think it's just a steal, right? I feel like it's definitely worth that sort of 15-20 hour experience that it's going to give you or something. And yeah, no, I kind of like the idea of it being a bit more adventure focused, a bit more whimsical, and a bit more puzzle orientated, because Machine Games have got their IPs where you go in guns blazing and blow off Nancy's nuts. You don't need to do that as indie. So I feel like they've got like a different formula here to their other games that they can create sequels to and stuff like that as well if this does well. I think it's the right approach, to be honest. I think it'd be weird if you were just running in with a Tommy gun all the time.
Exactly.
But yeah, my feelings haven't really changed on it. I wouldn't really say it's like I'm like way more buzzed after watching this. Obviously, I'm only just watching it now. And I'm watching on my phone, so I don't lag the stream out. But
smart.
Yeah, it's just I feel kind of the same about it, where I just feel like it's a pretty guaranteed good hit on Games Pass. So yeah.
I think this is the sort of thing that I know we've spoken about the timing before, and I know I really shouldn't care, but I kind of do. That it's missing the cutoff for the Game Awards. Like it's going to come out like 5 days before the Game Awards, which is just so silly because, like, even from just like a recognition point of view, that's annoying. That aside, there is a financial aspect. There is a reason why publishers will put their games in strategic positions for that, where possible. I don't think they're going to move heaven and earth to make it happen, but where possible, if they can line a game up fairly close to the Game Awards and they know it's going to land well, it's more likely to be nominated. And then when games are nominated, they kind of get a second wind of engagement or players. So the fact that this is now not really going to be spoken about until next year, which by the way will be out on PlayStation by then, is a bit of a bummer. Like I feel like Xbox must be looking at that like, it's a shame we couldn't have got it 1 month earlier. But if the game needed the polish, it needed the polish. Yeah, it might end up getting the Player's Choice Award. I think that can happen. I think so. But yeah, I don't know if it really matters to anyone else, but it kind of feels like relevant to the conversation about its timing and release, because December the 9th is also quite a weird launch time for any game, really. You don't see that often, let alone for a AAA.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if Xbox have kind of like a history of just missing the fucking buck with the Game Awards. Exactly. It's like they just forget. They're like, oh fuck, that's a thing. Shit. Yeah. It's like they've done it so many times that like it can't be just coincidence at this point. But yeah, so it is a little bit of a shame because it just puts less of a spotlight on it, and especially as Xbox, like read into as much as you want and take it as personally as you want, but Xbox kind of get chastised all the time for not really having much presence of these sort of things, and then they kind of do stuff like this when they actually have something that could have a major presence there. So yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't care, but for like the brand as a whole, yeah, they're probably a little bit bummed out about it.
Yeah, and it is just like silly internet conversation. Like nobody really cares that much. And it is, because the thing is that what it always comes down to is just Game of the Year nominations. Like Xbox hasn't had a game nominated for Game of the Year in quite a while. There are some technicalities in that, like Psychonauts 2, they did technically publish, and they did help with more than half of that development cycle. So, and that was nominated, so you could technically. I think it's probably fair to say that they had a decent involvement in that, and that was 2021. Deathloop was also that year. I think it would be silly to give Xbox credit for Deathloop, considering they only owned them. It was published as a PlayStation exclusive, and they only owned Arcane Bethesda for I think it was like 8 months. So there's no real right or wrong answer there, but in my opinion, it's a bit silly to give Xbox credit for that. And then there's other things like Starfield didn't make the cut for the reasons we've covered thousands of times. Don't worry, Tim. I'm not going to start talking about Forza Horizon 5.
Good.
I don't need
to. Good. I'm proud of you.
So I just got to collect myself for a moment.
Yeah, you're good.
But of course, actually, across the board, in terms of actually wins and nominations in other categories, they actually do quite well. Like, in terms of like, the direction category or the music category, voice actor. They came out like last year, for example, Xbox came out tied with Nintendo for the most wins. I think they both got 4 wins. PlayStation didn't get any, but Spider-Man did get nominated, and that's what the conversation always comes back to, of like the nominations for the Game Award, the Game of the Year, and it feels a bit reductive. Like I said, it's just, I suppose, just emphasizing the point that it is a bit silly.
But like, especially when it does, I feel like it does come down to politics sometimes. So for Game of the Year, it's a little bit disappointing to see a game. Obviously, it's usually a very good game, but like you said, there's so many of these smaller categories that are a huge deal, but they're overshadowed by the Game of the Year. Who cares what game had the best narrative? This game is the best game of the year, so I want to play the best game. Is that So, but
absolutely,
us who are a lot more informed know that was complete BS. But like someone who isn't, they just want to play the best game, and these 5 games are the best game of the year. So I'm going to play one of these 5 games.
Yeah,
or 6,
exactly.
But yeah, so
exactly.
It's if you're not fully informed on the situation, it's a lose situation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. And it's like, I think we've spoken about the idea of it kind of feeling like a bit of a popularity contest at times as well. Like, indie games never win Game of the Year. Like, there's usually one token indie nomination for Game of the Year, which is great, fine.
Yeah.
But indie games never win.
Yeah.
Despite possibly an indie game being the highest Game of the Year, it's like now the AAA one that all the outlets played, then obviously all the outlets are going to vote for, because it's the biggest one that they all got codes for, that they all wanted to play, that had the biggest hype factor. So it's a bit popularity contest in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there are so many that probably should have won it but didn't. Things like like Hades and like I don't think Hades did. But yeah, and like Slay the Spire, like all these like incredible games. Like I wouldn't be surprised. When did Balatro come out? I wouldn't be surprised if that should be up there.
I think I expect it will get a nomination. I do expect Balatro will get a nomination this year.
Yeah.
That will be the indie, the token indie, I imagine.
Yeah, because you do see him. I think at one point we even saw like a Neon White. Maybe might have made. I don't think it made the Game of the Year actually, but it got just like a lot of stuff.
Might have been nominated for indie, because there is the indie category.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they just never ever win it. Like, despite how good it is, like I would say Hades is probably one of the best games I've ever played, but like it just didn't get it.
I think it was. I'll have to check.
Yeah, Stray was a nominee last year or the year before or whatever. I know, because it just triggered me and Deck to the Moon and back.
Stray is like Tim's Forza Horizon 5 for me when it comes to the Game Awards. It's like it's the thing that really gets him going.
Yeah, and I played and completed Stray, but like for a Game of the Year, it's just a joke.
Bonkers.
Yeah, that game was jank and not great. So I don't know why people blow smoke up its ass.
Man, I'm really trying to remember which year Hades was. Was it like 2020?
It was like 2018. It's older than you think.
Oh, was it really?
No, maybe it's not 2018. Yeah, maybe like 2019, 2020. I mean, it literally should just take you a quick Google, shouldn't it?
Hades was well, I'm on the wiki.
September 17th, 2020.
2020. It was
Hades
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
I guess
Dead Cells was 2017.
For a long time.
And do you know what game won Game of the Year in 2020?
Killzone Shadowfall. I have no idea.
It's a big guess.
2, or was that 21?
It's Last of Us 2.
Ah, shit.
Which was quite controversial in its own right. So
it was. I mean, and it was a stiff year. Like the competition was big. It was Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and then Hades. So it was stiff competition. And I guess like the conversation is increasingly stupid because like what an indie game is just like that is just becoming more and more blurred. You know, we're calling some games indie games and they've got like 150 devs.
Like there's a lot of very weird genres at the Games Award. Like I remember like best fighting game, and then Shifu was up there, and the whole fighting game community was just like,
it's not.
Is it a fighting game?
Yeah, like, you punch people, but it's not a fighting game. Yeah,
so everyone was like,
yeah, and they also had like, was it like strategy and simulation was merged into one, I think, last year, and that was really controversial. People didn't like that. I understand there are some genres which don't have enough releases maybe to fill them out, but like why strategy and simulation? I don't know. It just feels like
they don't really.
They're just like those are the unpopular ones. So let's just brush them under the rug. You know, it's
no, it's a bit weird, but it's coming up soon, isn't it? Game of the Year. It's like end of no,
beginning of December.
It's like
it's like second week of December, and the nominations actually I saw on Twitter. The nominations go live on Monday, so we'll see what the nominations are. What's being nominated.
We should see if we can live stream that. Although
actually, we should take it. Do you know what? We should make it just a very quick like round robin of what we think the nominations are. If we're not going to have another chance to talk about it, like what are we thinking?
How many do they do? Do they do 5?
It's a good question.
I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can think of 5 games right now.
4. Yeah, 5.
I think Metaphor. I think.
Well, are we Astrobot?
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy 7, Astrobot, and Metaphor. That's 3, guaranteed. I think those are actual like pillars. I don't think any of those are not going to be there. Did Nintendo release any bangers this year? Maybe that Zelda game, the fucking one where you play as Zelda. Caden, I think you're on mute, bro.
Too woke.
Nah.
Because that popped off. That got like a really good like open critic, I think, but I don't know how popular it was. But
Silent Hill 2 could be up there.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
What about Helldivers 2?
I think other candidates are possibly Black Myth and Helldivers.
Oh, I forgot about Monkey.
Yeah. I don't think Black Myth makes it. I'll be really surprised if Black Myth. I know people.
Why not? The thing is, this is something that blows my mind. The most played.
Because it's not a popularity contest.
But there's. Yeah, I know. But it is. So it will be up there, I think.
What I mean is, it shouldn't be. And also, Black Myth was only turbo popular in China. It was popular here, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like a raging success here.
I will personally be very surprised if it's not up for Game of the Year.
And also, its reviews weren't that high. They were low 80s. They were like low 80s. Like, if we're going to say that is going to be nominated on like a quality level, Hellblade 2 scored the same as.
But we all know it's not going to be up there. That's
exactly. Well, right. Yeah. So what's the difference? I wonder.
Popularity.
What platforms did they release?
Oh, maybe that Prince of Persia game that popped off, didn't it?
Concord.
Concord. Yeah, Prince of Persia.
Still find a way to nominate it. Prince of Persia. That's people do love that. Yeah.
Oh, probably Like a Dragon, right? Infinite World. That'll be there.
I don't think it will.
Prince of Persia.
Nah. Prince of Persia was good. That'll be in a category somewhere. That will pop up because that game was very good. It's not Game of the Year. It won't be up there.
I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 makes the cut.
Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
I mean, Dragon's Dogma 2 was good, but it's not popular enough. Silent Hill 2, Helldivers 2. What do we think about Space Marine? We've not mentioned Space Marine.
Oh yeah,
It's a good point.
maybe.
You
Yeah,
guys haven't
maybe.
played
No,
it yet.
because the thing is,
No.
if one of this, it's really rare that like co-op or multiplayer games
Yeah.
get in this. Like
Agreed,
the only
agreed.
time really that happens is if it's like a traditional single player game with co-op bolted on, like Baldur's Gate, maybe Diablo. But the only other time a multiplayer game has won is the first Overwatch, which was like an earth-shattering release.
Yeah.
Like, it was like they literally have to like crack the earth down in the middle of the hemispheres for something like that to happen. And if one of the slots is going to be taken up by a co-op game, I think it would be taken up by Helldivers 2.
Yeah. I think Helldivers 2 was bigger than Space Marine.
Mm.
However, I just scrolled past one game that is very, I guess, controversial at the stage. Is Dragon Age, Veilguard.
Nah, I ain't getting in there. I don't think.
I know. I think it will personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, so it's a little bit polarizing in the same
Yeah.
way Starfield was, I think. Like
Yeah.
generally reviewed fairly well, but there is some polarization there.
Yeah, because I don't expect to see it up there, but I would not be surprised if it was.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Metaphor, FF7, Astro, Balatro, and Monkey.
Really?
Balatro is
2?
my spicy.
The Stalker 2 is not out yet. What do we think about Stalker 2?
It's too late, I think. I don't think
Is
it makes
is
the
it
cut.
too late?
Mm-hmm.
November 20th, next week. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you literally just said Monday. Ignore me.
Yeah, so but just by a couple of days, right? It's just kind of
Yeah.
silly how there's such a hard cutoff like that. Because
Xbox,
even though
classic.
like everybody will be playing it right now, it will be in reviewers' hands, and they won't be
Yeah.
able to make a submission. Maybe I'm wrong about that because I know people have said like it could be a game of the year contender, but I don't know if they just mean that like kind of informally, or if they just mean that. But I'm pretty sure it misses the cutoff. Oh, unless there's like an early access period. Maybe there's an early access period.
I've
That
not heard any information about it. I've not heard any previews or anything about it. I think with the last couple of weeks. I mean, I've heard a couple of months ago, but not really anything right now. Yeah, I think this year will be very interesting because I wouldn't say there's been any really big like typical
Clear
single player like last year there were big single player games that would just immediately click. Whereas this year there's not really. It's been quite a big multiplayer co-op year.
Hellblade 2 wasn't this year, was it?
Yeah. It's in May.
It's just
you just don't think it. You just think it will get like. It'll be in other categories, just not game of the year.
It'll probably win something like best narrative or something like that. Maybe.
I'm pretty certain it will win best audio. Maybe best audio design or something. Like it will win stuff. It will get nominations. It won't make the cut for best game. Okay. I wish it did. I wish it would, but it won't.
I was going to say maybe Persona 3 Reload, but then I don't know how comfortable they are chucking in like remakes. But Persona 3 Reload was very popular and it did kind of smash it.
Well, will Silent Hill 2 be up for Game of the Year then, do we think?
I don't know. I really don't know anything about that game. I steered very clear from it from the moment I saw it and realized how awful it looked, in my opinion. But
because it's just very good.
Yeah, I know. I have heard it, but I haven't really listened in to the buzz like at all, so I don't really know. Yeah, much surrounding that game. I can't really make a comment on it.
I'm really curious about Stalker. No, because unless there's an early access period, Stalker 2 will miss the cutoff. But I know a lot of people have said that they think it could otherwise be a contender. Of course, there are other game award shows like the Dice Awards. But again, like you said, that's such a shame because they've got a good exclusivity period on that game with Xbox because they've been supporting the development a lot, and it's coming out as like, oh wow, okay, this actually seems it's going to be really an exciting release. It feels like it's going to be quite high quality. So, but I think we've kind of got the handful nailed down there, haven't we? I don't think we're missing anything.
I know what's going to win best indie though.
Oh, we haven't got. Oh no, we haven't got Balatro.
Oh shit!
What?
Balatro. Yeah.
It'll be Balatro.
What were you going to say that isn't Balatro?
Animal Well, that popped off.
Animal Well is a good shout.
But you think Balatro? You're pretty confident in Balatro.
I think Balatro will get on the nomination list. It's a tough year because Balatro was just such a breakout hit.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, this could be the year where we maybe see like 2 slots dedicated to an indie release. You know, like
I don't
to
see
me,
Balatro for Game of the Year. I'm sorry, I don't.
No, I don't either, but just for nominations.
Okay,
because
right,
what usually they put 5 AAA single player games in. No, 4 AAA single player games in, and then the 4th one is like a quirky one or it's an
5.
indie one.
It's 6 for Game of the Year, if I remember.
Is it 6?
I think it's 6.
Let me just double check.
I'm pretty sure it's 6.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it is 6. It is 6. But maybe this is the year where actually there has been quite a good amount, and we do see Animal Well, and we do see Prince of Persia, and we do see Balatro, because all of those games I just mentioned are head and shoulders in review scores, if we're just looking at aggregates, whatever, above something like Black Myth, above something like Helldivers. Like they're like a good 8, 9, 10 points above those games. So if we are going by that, then I mean it stands to reason, right? Yes, Caden?
Prince of Persia indie?
No. I think it's AA.
Well, this is it. It's an independent team within Ubisoft. Or no, sorry, that's not what I mean. It's a small team within Ubisoft. So that's what I mean. It's like the definition is a bit of a misnomer these days. What we really mean when we're saying indie game is made by a smaller studio. But they're not independent. They're a Ubisoft studio.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's going to show up. I just got. What's the deal with DLCs and shit again? So Shadow of the Erdtree, that's not up
apparently. Yeah, it will be actually. You're so right. Shadow of the Erdtree. Yep, that's a lucky.
Yeah, that's considered a.
I don't think we should do that, to be honest. But
No.
apparently we are now.
I don't. Even if an expansion is like a new game, I still don't. It's not like I still don't think it should be classified as a new game. But yeah, you're right. It's a good
DLC.
show.
Yeah, DLC. That feels like there's enough DLCs in a year where that would be like a good category to have.
Yep.
Because then we're opening the floodgates to what about Vessel of Hatred? That could go in there as well.
Yeah.
And the problem with doing that is that when we were talking about the Cyberpunk DLC, it was a great DLC, but half the reason that is so fun to go back to is because they overhauled the whole fucking game. And in which case, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we reviewing? What are we awarding an award to? Updates? Are we awarding updates? It's like where does this start?
The game works. Game of the Year.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit of a tricky one for me. I mean, I know you've got to make the call, and just I could sit here and complain and criticize all day. But I'm obviously glad we have this, and I'm glad this moves in the way it does. But if we're just going to give feedback, I would say that I have a bit of a problem with expansions and DLCs going in the Game of the Year nomination category. When so many other good indie games could get in there, or AA games, it just feels like such a waste to be like, it's Elden Ring Part 2. It's like,
yeah, for sure. I actually completely forgot about Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm actually putting that in for my. So those are the 6 that I think of. Yeah, there's a little list in the notes. Yeah, so those are the 6. Obviously, I'll reel them off again. Is Astro, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Balatro, Prince of Persia, Helldivers 2, Space Marine 2, Black Myth, Silent Hill 2, Animal Well, Shadow of the Erdtree. That's kind of what we've narrowed it down to. And obviously, I put my initials next to what I think will actually be in the final 6. And we'll see. We'll compare it next week and see who got their 6. Pretty sure I put 6 in there. Yeah,
I'm assuming early access doesn't count. Because obviously Hades 2 came out in early access this year.
Hades 2.
Nah, I wouldn't have thought so.
It's not 1.0, so it's not good then.
How about The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, guys? Get that in there.
Lego Horizon.
Seeing as we're counting
the Is Towerborn considered a? Yeah, I did. I saw. Yeah, it's like 70s, isn't it? Is Towerborn considered a indie?
Yeah, Stoic is quite a small studio.
That'll be probably one of the best indies for next year, hopefully, unless it falls on its face.
I hope so. I hope so.
But yeah, cool.
Right. Is there anything else? I'm just having a quick look here. Oh, maybe Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, that game's been in my basket like about 6 times this year on Amazon and the
Yeah.
eStore. Like genuinely, I've almost bought it so many times.
Am I insane? Why don't I know what this is?
It's like a strategy like RPG,
It looks great.
like
It looks
JRPG.
really great.
Yeah,
It's not on
But I
Steam,
think
so
it
I'm
probably
freaking out.
doesn't make the cut, but it's
it's a bit
reviewed really
niche,
well.
but yeah, it popped off in its reviews. Pardon me.
Caden, you don't think Final Fantasy is going to get a nomination?
Yeah, that's a bit dire. Okay, let's be real. It's gonna be there.
You're insane.
Immediately, I see his cursor go over it. Yeah,
this
it
is
will
so
definitely
annoying,
be
'cause, like,
there. And I'm gonna be honest,
the more-
Astrobot's taking it home. I mean, we'll do our votes of what we think is actually gonna win it when it actually happens. But yeah, Astrobot's taking
Yeah.
it.
I think the only thing actually that could get in the way of I think more people would vote for Metaphor over Final Fantasy, so I think Astrobot and Metaphor would be neck and neck. I still think Astrobot does take it. I really don't want it to.
I'm really surprised you're both voting for Balatro. But I don't see it up there.
I think it's
at all.
getting in there. I do. I think it's going to be in that 6. Do I think it's going to win it? Absolutely not. But I think it's going to be in that 6.
I personally think you're insane putting it in the Game of the Year.
Why?
God.
I don't just imagine.
Caden, Stray got nominated 2 years
Yeah, well,
ago.
that was cats and all about emotion and shit.
Balatro about
Balatro is about
problems.
fucking gambling.
We've been on this topic for so long, FYI. We've
I
used
know.
most of the show doing this.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to real blitz
Balatro.
South of Midnight preview.
No.
It's fun though. I do enjoy all this predicting and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And like when we do like our bingo cards and stuff like that for all the showcases, it's great. It's great fun.
I'm really excited to see the categories this year because it's been a very like I don't mean not bad year at all. There's just not been any really big, huge like. Last year was like fucking Baldur's Gate 3, and it was just like, okay, cool, fine, whatever.
It's guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a very versatile year. There's been a lot. There's been a real variety of games this year. I'd say more than most years. Yeah, you haven't just had like your blockbuster Ragnarok guarantees it
exactly.
sort of thing.
There's been a lot of these weird, more niche games like Astrobot. As fucking awesome as Astrobot is, like, it's still not like a God of War or Spider-Man or Last of Us. It's not that kind of big, scary AAA single-player game. So,
but it is interesting we say that, isn't it? Because it's like a bit of an acknowledgement that type of game usually wins. And that's not necessarily because they're the best. They are very good, but it's not necessarily because it's just that they're the most popular.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's really annoying because the more we fleshed out, the more I've been like, oh, this. I feel like this is mostly predictable now. Like I felt the same last year. I was like, oh, this is mostly predictable now. It's like definitely Astrobot, definitely Final Fantasy, definitely Metaphor, definitely Shadow of the Erdtree, and that really only leaves 1 or 2 wild cards, which I would say Balatro. And I'm going to go with Prince of Persia, actually.
Pinch of Persia, just a pinch.
Pinch of Persia, mate. A little bit of Persia. I see no reason other than popularity why Helldivers should get in above Prince of Persia. That's what I think. Same goes for Black Myth.
But popularity, Helldivers 2 will be up there rather than Prince of Persia.
Maybe. We'll see where the chips land. We're going to move on.
Got it.
Yeah.
South of Midnight, boys. We had a preview, we had a documentary. This was a bit of a surprise when we got to see a decent slice of gameplay in the June showcase this year. I think for a lot of people, it was kind of their favorite thing, because it came away as such a surprising showcase. For those that don't know, it's Compulsion Games' latest game. We know it's coming out next year. We don't have a release date yet. We just know it's 2025, and it's this deep South mythology, so deep American South mythology-based third-person action adventure game with this really neat art style, really vibrant, and a stop-motion kind of effect. So for those that don't know what that means, it's like Into the Spider-Verse. If you know what that looks like, then you know what I mean. The the frame rate runs on 2s, so it's kind of got this choppiness, intentional choppiness to it. So what do we think? Did we get to have a read at this, look at this? Did we get, was there anything to glean, I suppose, is what I'm asking you guys.
I was immediately like interested
I'm gonna
in
get a beer.
South of Midnight from that initial trailer with the guy on the guitar on the pontoon or the jetty or the,
There's a vibe.
and the vibe was immediate. Like I loved the look of it, and then we had that gameplay snippet. I can't remember exactly when it was. Maybe you can chip in when that gameplay was. But then everyone, I can't remember when it was, but it was. I don't think anybody was expecting that kind of game. But I don't think there's any complaints, right? Like as unique and weird as that gameplay was, it was just like, oh, okay, this is that's the vibe, that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
And watching this documentary, like seeing how much like time and energy that they're putting into this kind of really unique, really not really explored at all, kind of folklore-y kind of like, not, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not like a supernatural, but yeah, like folklore kind of.
They're almost like
fables,
fables, aren't they?
Yeah, fable. That's a really good word. Yeah, like we do it with like Japanese and Chinese, and we do it with all these other stuff and like old mythology. But then there is westernized, weird culture stuff. So I think it's a really, really cool way of doing it, and they've done that a really interesting topic with a really beautiful, like stunning art style as well. Where it's like there's like pastely kind of hand drawn, kind of painted art style with this really interesting stop motion animation that I'm trying to think, has it been done in a game format before? That before? Like there's been like
I don't think a whole game has gone for it before. No, maybe an indie game that I don't know of, but
yeah, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but I cannot think of something that has done that kind of scale of stop motion before. I'm sure the games have done it on a smaller, more kind of niche territory, but on that scale, it's really, really stunning. And a lot of the voice acting, a lot of the animations and the art style and all of it is really clicking for me. I'm so excited to see more of this game. It's a really big thing for me, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you think, Tim?
I'm much along the same sort of thoughts there. I don't think the game has changed too much in my eyes in like a hype factor, because I mean, like Hayden said, I think right from the initial trailer I was pretty much hooked immediately with just the whole vibe, art style, and just what they were going for. And compulsion games doing what compulsion games do well. They shoot for the stars. Sometimes they miss, but they're very creative, and this is extremely creative. And yeah, like from that aspect of the game, absolute like genuine 10 out of 10, like intrigue and like artistic, what they're going for, really good. I'm still not sold on the gameplay. Like when I saw the gameplay, and like there was little bits of snippets in this as well, but still mainly taking from the chunk we saw prior to it. It just looks like it could be a little bit boring and a little bit samey. So, but it's really hard to tell because you don't know what sort of powers you're going to get later. You don't know what sort of things are going to come into the mix, or like how interactive the fights might be. You might just, because what we saw was essentially just them fighting it in like a circular arena, right? So that might just be a bit of a beginning game boss. The other ones, they might travel to a different area as it's demolishing through stuff and you're hanging off its back, and there's like maybe like a quick time event or something cool going on. But to me it just looked a little bit like you just mash fucking X or something like that, and then you might need to dodge once or twice, and then you mash X again until its health bar's gone.
I think that gameplay that they showed off a couple months back was a bit silly, like
bit mid. Yeah,
they killed that one enemy, didn't they? And then they like cleansed the area, and then they ran off to the clock tower, and that was it. They made combat look really simple and dull. Again, with the showplace here, they didn't show off too many abilities. They showed off more enemy density and a little bit tankier, but they didn't show much more kind of.
Is that because
ability
they're
per se.
keeping their cards close to their chest, or that they are nervous that it might get a little bit more backlash because the combat might be basic? Sometimes these artistic,
yeah.
story-driven games do, they simplify the combat because they're shooting for everything else being great. So
I think that's probably what they're probably doubling down on. They know it's a pretty game. They know it's a very unique, like lovely looking game, and I think they know that. So I think they're kind of doubling down on that front, and then I guess the gameplay will kind of. Well, I mean, this is obviously spitballing, but like that's kind of what I would do is they've probably got a hook with the look of the game, regardless of the gameplay at the minute, and then I think as the game develops more, because they still don't have a date for it. I think the game develops a bit more. They'll start throwing in a bit more kind of this is the progression of the game. This is as you get more powers, more magic and whatnot. This is the kind of things that you can do. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of the conversation around this has been around. I think a lot of commentators have said similarly. Actually, IGN's preview was really positive. And I think we've all said the same thing. Like from like an audio visual point of view, they're like, this looks great. Like I don't know if you guys have heard like some of the jingles and jangles that are going on in the background, but like, it sounds like top notch stuff, like stuff I've never really heard before, like the banjo and stuff going on. It just sounds really good, and it looks really good as well. And all the voice acting seems really good. I'm loving these characters too that are coming up, like the talking catfish, two-toed Tom, this giant alligator boy. This is cool stuff. And then we get to the gameplay, and I'm watching it, and it looks polished, it looks solid, but it does look simple. And it's this thing of like it looks like Southern Arkham, and it's like South of Midnight Arkham edition. So it remains to be seen, but I reckon it feels a bit Jedi Fallen Order sort of thing, where it's like a combination of like platforming and combat. Like, there's a bit of that going on where there's both. So, so there's that. But then there's also the thing that bothered me was the enemy design. I'm not sure about that. The snippets we saw of the boss fight with Two-Toe Tom looked great.
I'm assuming you're referring to the kind of tangled root looking boys.
Yeah.
But the black blob,
yeah,
I'm just kind of over that. Kind of over the black blobs. Yeah.
No?
Can you hear a baby crying?
No?
No, I was more referring to the black blob comment.
Oh right, I could hear my baby crying. I was like, oh, is that getting picked up?
No,
no, you're good.
You just mute the baby. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like we've seen this in a lot of games where it's become a bit of it's become a bit tropey now. Where it's just like
over.
It's just a black shape, and it's representative of like a thing, and it's like, okay, fine. I just hope that we see more of the two-toed Tom looking enemies and less of the blob looking enemies. I'm okay with it being there to serve a narrative purpose, but like with the world that they've created, I feel like it would be such a missed opportunity to not have like Southern mythology inspired, interpretations of enemies, right? Instead of just having black blobs. So overall, still came away looking and feeling really positive about the game. Definitely excited for next year's release. And it's big ups to the team and big ups to Xbox really. It's this game isn't going to do gangbusters because a lot of people are going to look at this and be like, oh, I don't like the fucking laggy gameplay because it's like running on twos or something. So yeah, cool. Sounds like we're on similar wavelength.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. I'll tell you what. We're coming up towards 7:30, which is when we said we wanted to end the show anyway. And I don't think it's super necessary that we go over Avowed now. So let's dedicate that time to a bigger block on its own, maybe next week or in a time where we actually have the scope to do that. But for those that don't know, we did just get the pre-order bundles go up for Avowed. There's a tiny bit more gameplay that just went up. I can see on YouTube just like a 45-second pre-order trailer. So we'll talk about that maybe next week or in our next episode, whenever that is. Who knows?
Nice. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, so that sounds good.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that kind of brings us to the end of the show then. if you've been listening to us live, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcasting service, or if you're watching us after the fact on YouTube, feel free to hit a like button. Consider subscribing. We're pretty cool, guys. We're pretty friendly.
I have a question, and I know it's going to slightly go on for a few minutes, but can we talk about the obviously Philly Spencer got a little bit in the spotlight this week. Can we talk about why he looks like a ghoul from Fallout?
I thought he looked a little bit dead as well.
Is he okay?
If he comes out and having cancer, you're going to feel
really
bad.
No. That's why I said, is he okay? Like, I'm genuinely, I don't know if he's. He just looks very, very, very run down. His lips look so chapped.
No, he looks skinny. Like, he looks really thin.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I don't know. Supposedly, I think I read somewhere, I can't verify it, that the interviewer, which I think was Jason Schreier, said he looks okay in person. Like, it's just a really unflattering photo. But the photo is unflattering. Like, he looks ill. Like, I hope everything's okay.
He looks like he hasn't had water for like 8 days. He looks like he's come straight out of like Dune. He looks.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Poor guy.
Like, I just wanted to bring that up. It was quite funny.
It's a big commitment to the Xbox IP. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's literally draining him. Like, the Xbox fans and the Xbox Reddit is draining him.
Man. Poor guy.
Anyway, yeah, sorry.
All right. No problem. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Have a good weekend, and we will catch you later.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, guys.